Hey guys, how's it going? Chris here. So it's been about a year since I did my last video, and a lot has happened since then. Not only a lot has happened in the world, but also just a lot has happened in terms of figures that have come out. So I did not want to do another video until I kind of figured out the space issue that I was facing last time I did one. And a lot of you commented that, I really didn't have any room to grow with my collection. So I think I have solved that issue. So first off, I managed to squeeze one more detolf in here. So I kind of got physics to look the other way for a second as I kind of fit one in this last little bit of space that I had. But also, as of last week, one big addition is these. So four Billy bookcases Bestas from IKEA that I bought that not only gives the collection a lot more room to breathe, but also leaves a little bit of room for expansion. So without further ado, let's just go through it and see what I have. Starting off first with this DC shelf, we got Arrow and the Flash. Brand new Arrow's been announced by So Toys Figures. I definitely think I'm going to pick that up. As well as Zoom and John Constantine. Supergirl with a custom head, sculpted by Rocco. As well as the beginnings of a Tyler Hoechlin Superman figure. Never ended up finishing this, and ever since the new series premiered a few days ago, I really want to go back and finish it. All it really needs is a cape. So hopefully I'll be able to put something together. Moving down here, we have this Heroes of Classic Movies shelf. I've got John Wick as well as his two dogs, Neo, Doc Brown, Marty McFly, as well as Agent K and Rick Deckard from Blade Runner 2049. Moving down here, we've got a couple of video game heroes. We've got Fallout and Batman Arkham Knight. We've got the Nuka-Cola Power Armor, as well as the protagonist from Fallout 4. He didn't really have a name, but I decided to go with Nate, since that's kind of the default name you get if you don't pick one, as well as his trusty dog, Dogmeat. We also have the Arkham shelf. We've got the Arkham Knight Batman, the Joker, the Arkham Knight himself, and wedged back there is Deathstroke. Definitely got to make a bit more room for these figures, because there are a couple more Arkham Knight figures coming out. So far, we've got Batgirl and Harley Quinn slated, and I'm really hoping they get around to doing a Nightwing, Robin, and Scarecrow. So hopefully this line expands a bit more. Now down here, this shelf really didn't have a theme. It started off as real people, but then it kind of got dominated by Michael Jackson really quickly. Back in the day, I used to be a huge Michael Jackson fan, so I ended up collecting all these back when I was first getting into collecting. What we've got a Thriller Michael Jackson, Bad, from the Beat It music video, and this one is actually a third-party one, but it looks a lot like the original Hot Toys Michael Jackson release, which is shot way up in value since it came out. As well, we've also got this nice Steve Jobs figure right here that I put together, as well as a Marty McFly that I customized way back in the day. And even though Hot Toys has come out with a Marty McFly and it's awesome, I also really like this one too, so I decided to hang on to it. Moving up to the next shelf, we have Doctor Who's of the new series. We've got the 8th Doctor, played by Paul McGann, the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor, and the 12th, played by Peter Capaldi, although I really hate this outfit he came with. So eventually maybe I may try and have someone customize a new one that's a bit more better fitting. Back here, we've got the War Doctor, played by John Hurt, as well as the 9th Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston. I was actually lucky enough to meet Christopher right before the world kind of went to crap last March. I met him at a convention, and really awesome guy. I know he's kind of distanced himself from the show in the past few years, but still, you can tell he still appreciates the show and still really appreciates the fans. So it's given me a whole new appreciation for his portrayal. Moving down here, we've got the X-Men shelf. This is a bit crowded, so I may have to look to expanding this one. We've got Storm, Bobby Drake, Deadpool, Wolverine, as well as Magneto, Cyclops, and Professor X, although I may get a different suit for him because I kind of customized this one from pieces I bought online, and I'm not loving the way the suit fits him, so maybe I'll get something that fits him a bit better. Moving down here, we have Cap. We've got the Rescue Cap, Star Spangled Man, Cap from the first movie with a custom head sculpt, Steve Rogers, as well as Cap in the strike suit. And in the back, we've got Peggy Carter, the Winter Soldier, and of course the Red Skull. And I am lucky enough that over the years, that jacket hasn't chipped away. Next up, we have Marvel TV shows. We've got Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, the Punisher, wearing a custom shirt that I bought online, as well as Charlie Cox Daredevil. I really hope this isn't the last we've seen of him. From what I hear, it won't be. As well as Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Luke Cage. Moving over here, we've got the horror shelf with Mike Myers, Rick Grimes, Ash Williams from Evil Dead, as well as Dexter Morgan and Hannibal Lecter. And even though these aren't strictly speaking 1/6 scale figures, they kind of blend in well enough. So I also got Chucky and the NECA Sam from Trick or Treat. Up here, we've got another video game shelf with Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us, as well as Nathan Drake from Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3 with a custom head sculpt, and Uncharted 4. Uncharted 2 is my absolute favorite video game of all time, so I know I had to have one from at least that. And then when these two came out, I knew I couldn't resist those either, so now we've got a whole collection of Nathan Drakes. Up here, we've kind of just got random characters. This is actually one of the oldest shelves that I have. All these figures here are at least 6-7 years old or more. But we've got Walter White, as well as Jesse Pinkman, Dr. House, Cliff Secord. I actually put this together from old G.I. Joe parts, as well as a custom head sculpt. But I'm really surprised they haven't made a third-party figure of him. With how popular the movie's become in the past few years, I would have thought that he'd be a no-brainer. But hopefully we'll get one someday. As well as Sherlock Holmes. They've got a new third-party figure coming out of Sherlock. Definitely going to pick that one up because this one's starting to look a bit dated. Up here, we've got the Nolan Batman figures. We've got Batman Begins Batman, as well as the Dark Knight, as well as the brand new Two-Face figure, and Bane, Catwoman, Bruce Wayne on the old DX2, and Scarecrow. I know, definitely missing a Joker from here, so he is definitely on the list to pick up at some point, as well as that new third-party Ra's al Ghul that I'm going to try and track down next month. Over here, we have got classic movie heroes, with Daniel Craig as James Bond, Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones this started out as the Hot Toys figure, but I kind of kept replacing more and more pieces, and now there's only like 2 or 3 pieces left from the original figure, so it's like that old parable about the ship. As well as Harry Potter and Marty McFly. Down here, we've got the Guardians shelf with Rocket and Gamora from Guardians 1, as well as Star-Lord, Yondu, Groot, and Drax. Next up, Terminator with John Connor, Sarah Connor, the T-800 from Terminator 1, the T-1000 from Terminator 2, as well as good old Uncle Bob, as well as this statue that came with the DX figure way back in the day, and I just like the look of it, so I ended up putting it in here. One thing that is missing from this, though, is Kyle Reese. He has been on my list for a Grail figure from me for a long time, so I'm really hoping someone makes one eventually because I really want one of him in here. Moving down here, Supernatural, we've got custom Dean Winchester that I made, as well as the official release Dean Winchester, Sam Winchester, John Winchester, and Castiel. I was actually really disappointed with that head sculpt when it showed up. As you can tell, it's kind of small. It's a lot closer to 1/8 than 1/6. So hopefully I can find a better replacement for him in the future. As you can tell, I'm a really big Supernatural fan, so it'd be nice to have one. This is the Assassin's Creed shelf. So it started off as only a couple figures, but in the past few years, Damn Toys has really spaced out and made a lot of these figures. And being a huge fan of the series that I am, I ended up collecting them all. I don't really know where I'm going to put any more, especially because they've got at least 2 more Ezio figures coming out. But hopefully I'll figure something out. So we've got Connor, Shay Cormac, Edward Kenway, Bayek from Assassin's Creed Origins. I actually just got him about a month ago. As well as Altair, Aguilar from the Assassin's Creed movie, and way back there we've got Ezio, the old Hot Toys figure from Assassin's Creed 2. So moving up here, you're going to see a lot of figures that you may not recognize. These are actually all custom figures that I made from my favorite book series, the Stormlight Archive and Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I say one series because they actually both take place in the same universe. So if you have not read them, I can't recommend them anymore. I mean, everyone that I know always laughs about how often I recommend these books. So for those of you that actually are familiar with them, hopefully there are at least a few of you that can appreciate this. We've got Wax Ladrian and Wayne from The Alloy of Law. We've got Vin, Kelsier, and Ellen from Mistborn, as well as Kaladin Stormblessed from the Stormlight Archive. Thinking of maybe adding one more, either a Dalinar or a Hoyd, and hopefully there's at least someone out there that knows who these characters are and can appreciate my nerdiness. Moving up here, we've got the Harry Potter shelf. We've got Harry, Dumbledore, Snape, Voldemort, Bellatrix Lestrange, Hermione with a custom head sculpt, and Sirius. I'm thinking about maybe adding one or two more to these. I'm thinking maybe either Draco or Ron, maybe Lucius. I mean, I'd have to space them out, obviously, a bit more if I did that. But I'm not really in love with the quality of these figures. Some of these I've actually had to customize a bit. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's still kind of up in the air. Moving up here, we have Game of Thrones with Tyrion, Daenerys, Jon Snow, Cersei, Jaime with a custom head sculpt, Tywin Lannister, Ned Stark, and the Hound. So the plan eventually was I was going to replace Jon and Tyrion with the upgraded versions, as well as maybe get a King Joffrey or Brienne. And then season 8 happened. And honestly, it was really disappointing for me. I wasn't a huge fan of the way that turned out. And it kind of killed my love for the show. So I can still remember the good times. And I did at one point really love this show. But it's just not really made me too excited about buying any more merchandise from it. But I don't know. We'll see. Things can turn around. Over here, we actually have some new acquisitions. These are the Power Rangers figures from Star Ace Toys. Got Green Ranger, Blue Ranger, Pink, Yellow, Black, Red, and White. So you may notice down here these stands. You may have seen them being sold for sale on eBay or a couple other sites I've seen them for sale on. So I actually designed these. I got them, made them in Photoshop, and then had them printed up by an eBay seller. Someone saw them and stole them. So I'm really not okay with that. These were my designs. Even though I technically don't have any rights to the intellectual property, I'm still mad that someone else is kind of making money off of them. So if you see them, and you're really a fan, yeah, by all means, I made them so people can enjoy them. But I don't know, I'm still just not too happy about the way that all worked out. Now down here, this is actually my newest figure. I just got him a couple weeks ago. This is the Mandalorian from well, I don't need to tell you about that, but he's just so awesome that he kind of deserved a shelf to himself. So, I don't know, I'm just really happy with him. Great figure. I enjoy looking at him and Baby Yoda. So, I'm probably going to eventually put Boba Fett in here and maybe a Darth Maul with cyborg legs, but for right now, he looks pretty awesome on his own. Moving down here, we have Firefly figures from the show Firefly. I mean, what else is there to say about this show that hasn't already been said? We've got Simon Tam, Wash, Kaylee, Zoe, Jane, River, although I'm really not happy with that body, so at some point she's going to probably need a new seamless body, and Malcolm Reynolds. All of these are custom figures. However, the Malcolm Reynolds, there has been an official release of him, and I did get a couple parts from that official release to add to my custom, but he's still about 80% custom parts. Then moving down here, we have movie action heroes. We've got Judge Dredd and Judge Anderson, as well as a Harry Hart from The Kingsman, and a custom John McClane that I made from Die Hard. Best Christmas movie ever made. As well as back here, an Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible, and Jack Harper 4'9" from Oblivion. Really good movie, very underrated. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. A couple custom figures in this shelf too. These is kind of book characters. Back there, we've got a Hannibal Lecter from the Hannibal TV show, as well as Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games. Not a great figure, but I've always really loved those movies. They're a huge guilty pleasure of mine, so it's nice to have one. As well as Wesley from The Princess Bride. And up front here, we have a Harry Dresden from the Dresden Files, and Michael Carpenter holding his sword Amaracus, also from the Dresden Files. Once again, book series, if you haven't read it, can't recommend it enough. Now up here, we have famous sci-fi characters. Of course, James Kirk and Spock, Captain Picard, and Admiral Adama from Battlestar Galactica. The head was sold by a sculptor a few years ago, and I got that this uniform custom from G-Wiz Toys. And the first Doctor from Doctor Who. Now, interesting story about this figure. It's actually mostly a custom. So by the time I actually decided I wanted to buy this figure, the figure was long sold out. However, I was able to acquire the hands, the head, and the walking stick. And the rest I kind of just had to throw together from whatever parts I could find. So I like enough the way that it turned out. However, I still do want to try and find the original figure if I can. Moving up here, it's just kind of a random hodgepodge to Wonder Woman and Wolverine, honestly, just because I had nowhere else to put them. Although there probably are going to be a few more entries in this shelf. As DC keeps coming out with films, hopefully some of them will be pretty good. And I'll get to have a few more entries for this. I do know that they're coming out with a Rorschach figure next year. That's definitely one I've always wanted, so that will definitely be joining Wonder Woman in here. And Wolverine, just because, like I said, I had nowhere else to put him because the X-Men shelf is totally full. Now, moving up here, this is the Superman shelf. We've got Clark Kent from Smallville, my favorite TV show when I was a teenager. Christopher Reeve as Superman, as well as Henry Cavill from Man of Steel with a custom head sculpt. And then finally, we have the beginnings of a Lex Luthor from Smallville figure. So he's not completely done yet. I kind of want to get some kind of Kryptonian artifact for him to hold in his hand like he's studying it. But so far, not too bad. Moving over here, we have the Star Wars shelf. This kind of first shelf is all A New Hope. We've got R2-D2 and C-3PO from Sideshow, as well as Leia, Luke and Han with a custom Jinx head sculpt, as well as Chewbacca. Over here, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke in X-Wing gear, Grand Moff Tarkin, the Torture Droid, Stormtrooper, and the original Darth Vader, but with custom hands. Down here is Empire, with both Hot Toys Luke's, Hot Toys Yoda, Leia, and Boba Fett, as well as a custom third-party Han Solo and Carbonite figure. Always wanted Han Solo and Carbonite, not going to pay $250 for him. So this'll do. And probably Lando is going to join them eventually as well. Over here is Return of the Jedi. We have Emperor Palpatine and his throne, as well as the Royal Guard, Darth Vader. Hopefully they come out with a Return of the Jedi Darth Vader too, because I would really love to unmask head sculpt for him, as well as Luke Skywalker in Jedi robes, and a custom slave Leia. Over here, we have the prequels, Hot Toys Darth Maul, Count Dooku, as well as the Sideshow Obi-Wan Kenobi from The Phantom Menace, and Qui-Gon Jinn. Over here, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi from Episode 3, Han from Solo, A Star Wars Story, as well as Anakin Skywalker, Mythos Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was a figure that looked really cool on paper. In practice, I'm not really sure how to pose him. And Jyn Erso from Rogue One. Now moving down here, we have got the Force Awakens shelf with Finn, Rey, Kylo Ren, and a Stormtrooper in the back. And of course, Han Solo and BB-8. Now moving over here, we have a Last Jedi shelf with Rey, Luke, Kylo Ren, and another Rey from The Last Jedi. And there's space for one more figure. I'm not really sure what to put here. Thinking maybe a Praetorian Guard, maybe Leia, maybe Luke from that final battle, or maybe something from Rise of Skywalker. Well, I wasn't a massive fan of that. I think it was actually a little bit better than The Last Jedi in some ways. I know that's controversial opinion, but still, the point is, I haven't really decided if I'm going to put something here, so we'll see. So moving over here, this is my old Besta. I actually am not loving it. Ever since I kind of saw this new pretty one, I'm thinking, how much better can I do if I had some more space to play with? So maybe I'm thinking of cramming like a single Besta up there in between. But yeah, we'll see. So starting up top, I now have room in here for the Power Rangers. Not all of them, but some of my favorites at least. I have the Tamashii Nations Zords, obviously the Megazord, the Dragon Zord, and Titanus, as well as the SH Figure Arts series, a complete lineup of them. See the Red Ranger with the shield back here, as well as Lord Zed, Rita, and Goldar, and the original Lord Draken, as well as a Psycho Green figure and a Psycho Silver. Moving down here, Age of Ultron shelf, we've got Captain America, as well as the Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch. Sorry, not Black Widow. Slip of the tongue. I never really liked the way that the one from Age of Ultron turned out. So this is just the Winter Soldier one. I figured, it'll do. She completes the team. As well as Quicksilver, Vision, hopefully with WandaVision coming out, we'll get a new one of him. the actually Scarlet Witch this time, in her outfit from the end, as well as Thor, Hawkeye, and of course Iron Man. Moving down here, this is the one that makes me want to get a new shelf. This is 11 figures all crammed in here. Doesn't really have a ton of room, so if I get a new shelf, this is what it's going to be for. But anyways, we've got the exclusive Cap from Civil War, Falcon, War Machine, Iron Man, Black Widow, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, and a tiny Ant-Man right there, regular size Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch. And then finally down here, we have some of the oldest figures in my collection from the first Avengers movie. Although actually, this Iron Man is brand new, so the die-cast Iron Man from Avengers 1, as well as Cap, I'm probably going to upgrade him when that comes out. Thor, got Dr. Banner, as well as Loki, and Hawkeye. Definitely think I'm going to upgrade at least Cap's body, but don't know about Loki yet. I'm going to have to see some comparison shots. And down here we have the main agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Phil Coulson, Nick Fury, the man himself, and Maria Hill. And then up front we have Loki from the Dark World, really had no place to put him, as well as Hulk from Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, and Stan Lee. Now finally, most excited thing, and I think the prettiest thing in this room, is these new Bestas. Finally give the collection a chance to shine. We've got, first this is like what I like to call the Marvel Phase 3 shelf. At first, I thought I really wasn't going to be able to cram near this many figures in. And you know, some people may think it looks overcrowded, but once I started adding risers and kind of giving shape to it, I actually really like the way it turned out. It looks almost like a cinematic poster. So, you know, haters gonna hate. Got Doctor Strange from the first movie, and Gila, as well as the third-party Ancient One back there, as well as a T'Chaka. I know he didn't come with that spear, but for some reason I just thought, this guy needs a spear, so found one online, and I think he looks pretty good holding it. Captain Marvel, Killmonger, Spider-Man from the Spider-Man Homecoming movie in the homemade suit. We've got Loki holding the Tesseract, Black Panther, R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman, as well as Thor, and the anniversary Cap figure, which isn't really from a movie, but I like it, so whatevs. Over here we have the Infinity War shelf with a War Machine, Groot and Rocket, Winter Soldier and Cap, and then up front we've got Doctor Strange, Thor, Iron Spider, Iron Man, and Thanos. You know, I'm still thinking of maybe fitting one more figure up here, and if I do, it's either going to be Gamora or Star-Lord. Haven't decided yet, but hey, if you have any thoughts on it, let me know. Now, over here, this is the beginnings of an Infinity War shelf. Sorry, Endgame shelf. Not finished yet, obviously. Still got a few figures left to go. But so far, I've got Ant-Man and the Wasp. The Wasp originally was going to go on the Phase 3 shelf, but that really would be pushing it, cramming it in there. And plus, she looks kind of nice here, so. And the building back there, I know that was technically not an Endgame, but whatever. Got Nebula. I really like that pose I got her in. Very threatening, kind of lunging forward like she's about to attack. And War Machine Mark 6. And up front, we've got Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Ronin. I kind of mixed the parts together just to find a look that I liked, and I'm relatively happy with it. As well as another new figure to my collection, Tony Stark in Mark 85, the final suit. Although that head sculpt, gotta say, I know some of you out there like it. Not a huge fan myself. Not so much for the lack of likeness. I think a likeness is there. I just don't think it's very expressive. It needs something a bit more dramatic. So I've ordered a third-party head sculpt. Hopefully it'll be here pretty soon. Finally, we have the Spider-Man shelf. So this is Spider-Man, all of them from the PS4 game. Even technically this new one here. I know that it's from Spider-Man Far From Home, but it's also a suit in the game, so figure it fits here for now. We've got the Spider-Punk, Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3, which I know not a lot of you are huge fans of this, but I actually kind of like it. Up here, we've got the Iron Spider. We've got the Spider-Noir third-party figure, as well as the Negative suit. and Spider-Man 2099. And okay, I lied a little bit. This one is not from any game so far, but we've got Spider-Man in the symbiote suit from Spider-Man 3, as well as the Scarlet Spider, and the man himself, Spider-Man Advanced Suit, with the head sculpt. So this is actually one of my biggest contentions with pop culture last year was the fact that they replaced this guy in the Spider-Man game. I know they probably had good reasons for doing it, but honestly, I think John Bubniak was the perfect Spider-Man. So if anyone out there is listening uh, that actually has any kind of influence on this or cares, just know that bring back the Bubniak because he was awesome. He was the perfect Spider-Man. And finally, up here, we have got my Iron Man collection. I know it's a little high up, but I could actually see it pretty well. Oh, and yeah, and over there is the Batman tumbler. We've got the Iron Man Marks 1 through 6. All of them are die cast, except for the Mark 1, but hopefully they released a die cast version of that pretty soon. As well as a Silver Centurion shotgun armor, Mark 42, as well as the Heartbreaker. We got the Mark 47 from Spider-Man Homecoming, as well as a custom Infinity War Tony Stark. Originally, he was down here in the Infinity War collection, but he is honestly just so hidden that I could barely even see him. So up there, I could actually appreciate him, and he's got a bit of room to breathe. As well as the War Machines over there, we've got the War Machine Mark 1, Mark 2, and Iron Patriot. As well as way back there, we've got the Iron Man Mark 2 from the original movie. You know, it may seem a bit lame to hold on to it because, I've already got two others in the autopsy suit and the diecast, but the Mark II was actually my first Hot Toys figures way back in 2009, so it's a bit nostalgic for me. Now, finishing it off, we've got this space right here with a few Doctor Who figures. We've got the TARDIS and the Weeping Angel, as well as Colossus from Deadpool, not Doctor Who, but I needed somewhere to put him, and he looks okay right there. As well as this strapping young lad, which is actually me in 12-inch toy form. So I was at the store at the Mall of America a couple years ago, and they had this process where they take a 3D photo of you and make you into a 12-inch figure, and I figured, hey, this would be perfect for me. So these are actually probably going to move. One thing you may notice is that I have room for one more Besta here, and I don't really know what to do with it. I'm thinking if I move these on top of there, then I can fit one more in here. And I'm thinking Marvel Phase 4 maybe X-Men, maybe Harry Potter or Doctor Who. I don't know. So if you have any suggestions, just let me know. But anyways, this has been my collection for the past year. Hope you see something you like. But if you have any suggestions for what to put in that Besta, or maybe any other suggestions of figures you think I should pick up, just let me know. But otherwise, thanks guys for watching, and see you next time.